Hey you guys, thanks for clicking on the video. I hope everybody had a really good Thanksgiving with your family or whoever. I had a good one. I'm very blessed and thankful, even though things are very stressful and chaotic for me right now. I'm always grateful. So I just want to say a little disclaimer before I get started. As always, my videos are just for educational purposes, spreading awareness, entertainment purposes, whatever. Let's leave it there. We have to put out those little disclaimers because I'm not a professional. I'm not, trying to convince anyone to do anything or anything like that. And I cannot be responsible for what people do outside of this video. It is what it is. Just my personal perspectives and feelings, okay? This video is going to be maybe a little offbeat, a little off the beaten path. I do intend to get back to some of the regular content. The other day I put up a new vape review for the people who check out my vape reviews under the playlist From Smoking to Vaping. I'm going to get back to some of the other video content that I usually put out as well. Occasionally I have to do an abstract one that's just kind of off the beaten path. Guys, it can be kind of difficult for me. I need to explain this. I know that I don't have a particular niche on the channel. I know that I do several different types of videos, okay? But as in my description, even though those videos, the content seems different, there's an umbrella, there's an overall kind of outline that I like to keep in all of my videos, okay? And that is that they will all have something either psychological to make you think, open your mind, spread awareness, something interesting along those lines, more deeply emotional, or either something philosophical, just examining life, or something spiritual within. Almost all of my videos, no matter if it's discussing a murder case, childhood abuse, narcissism, food, love, and cooking, one of my many passions, singing, certain celebrity life stories, whatever I'm discussing, from smoking to vaping, I don't care what it is. You can count on a similar, I'm going to bring the video somehow full circle within there and have some kind of something of substance, hopefully, to pass along to you guys, or some kind of value to help you out. That's kind of where I'm going for now. Until one day maybe I can niche down even further and really hone in on something, maybe do another channel. We'll see how it goes, okay? But I just wanted to say that, and we're going to get on into the topic tonight. Guys, sometimes it's hard for me because I feel like I have to operate with two different sides, okay? The critical thinking, logical, reasoning side of my brain, and then the more creative, intuitive, empathic, which doesn't always mean feeling sorry for people. It just means picking up on energy, feeling and sensing things, all of my clairs, okay? And I have to operate out of both of those. If not, I feel completely imbalanced. I feel like I'm just not, now some people operate out of one or the other all of the time, and that works for them. That feels complete to them. They feel that for their personal truth and their life, it's 100% accurate and spot on. That's fine. However you need to do it, I'm cool with it. But for me, I need to have both. Using logic, reason, critical thinking. I respect psychology and science very much. I've had a great therapist since I was a young girl. I respect the work they do. I've always been passionate about psychology and learning about the mind. I come from a family of where mental illness runs in my family. I have a lot of siblings. They all have a different type of mental illness or personality disorder, from bipolar, paranoid schizophrenic. There are anxiety disorders running rampant in my family. 2 of us have major anxiety disorders, PTSD. And so that is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I've always been very passionate about psychology so that I can understand my people better, so that I can be, better to them, more patient with them, and understand where they're coming from. Because you're not just going to throw your family away. No, you're going to have to navigate those mental illnesses. You're going to have to navigate those personality disorders, okay? So, yeah, I've always been passionate about it. But while I respect psychology and science, and I like to stay informed, and it's a passion of mine, it's almost like candy to me. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think it's dwelling or too much self-help or no. It's like candy to me to literally take apart all the mechanics and the little details and unravel, understanding one concept at a time. A lot of things in psychology are mind-blowing. And once you really understand it, you're like, wow. You can literally feel the light bulbs going off in your head and the little neurotransmitters floating around and connecting and neurons wiring and all that. Just seriously. And so I very much respect that. And I'm passionate about it. It's not me dwelling. It's not me obsessing over. It's me like really having a love to putting the time and energy and the research into understanding those certain concepts. Like when I took on narcissism a couple of years back. I had always studied psychology and psychological concepts, and I took a couple semesters when I went back to college. But it was hit and miss with me over a lifetime. It was basically, I would study certain things that I needed to know to get by, or whatever might have been directly affecting me in my life at that time. And up until a couple years back, I really didn't need to know about narcissistic personality disorder. I didn't really care. I didn't really need to know what narcissism. I mean, I had a vague idea of what a narcissist was, and I left it at that, even though I had been surrounded by them all of my life, starting when I was a little girl and born into my family. My father, I just didn't make all those connections because I didn't really need to. I knew I grew up abused and used, and, I had had some turbulent relationships here and there, but hey, there comes a time in our life where somebody might cross our path and they open our mind and we need to know what it is, and we go on that deep dive and we learn those things. We're all on a different path, okay? So, I just want to put that out there. The dual nature that I have. And in this video, we're about to get into it. I also have the other side of my mind. Like I said, that's very creative, intuitive, empathic, picking up on energy and feeling and sensing. And it's just very poetic and abstract, and I have to have those too. I use both, okay, pretty much equally. Now, I took this test when I went back to college in my early 30s. And in my psych class, they gave us a little random test where it was right brain, left brain. And I believe it's the right brain that's creative, empathic, intuitive, and it's the left brain that's very rigid, logic, reason, order, this, that. And I was 2 points to the right. I came out 5 points to the left, 7 points to the right. And I thought, that makes sense. Those 2 little fucking points are always getting me in trouble. Meaning that creative, intuitive, other side of my personality is always where I am more drawn. It's just, and it kind of has taken me, in my life when I'm trying to be on time and put things out in a very disciplined way, and this rigid information just like that. And, logically, it's like this, okay? My common sense tells me, and practicality, and da-da-da. Okay, well, the other side of my brain dominates me more. Well, now intuitively I feel that it's this. And I want to speak about it in this more random, abstract, creative way. I don't want to just concise it down and put it in this rigid little format and get it out like that. No. So yeah, those 2 points were always kind of knocking me, pulling me, getting me in trouble. As a creative personality, as a spiritual personality, sometimes we have those difficult dilemmas and finding balance, because when you're a creative person or a spiritual person, those things come in waves. They come in downloads, okay? It's something that comes over you, or you channel it, or you suddenly get the inspiration. And by God, you have to stop right then and start working on it or getting it down right then. But it might be time to go to work. It might be time for other responsibilities. You see what I'm saying? And often that would get me in trouble. I'd be late for work because I was working on this creative project. Something that I just had to get out. I feel like that is soul, that is spirit guides. That's always a download. That is something that needs to come out and be brought to this realm. Okay? That's what it's all about to me. That creative life force, to me, that is everything, okay? But this other shit, yes, we have to deal with that too. Responsibility, order, discipline, on time, society, job, logic, reason, whatever, being practical. I get it. But I know that some of you can relate to trying to find the balance between that. And I am one of those people, I can be at work and, a feather went floating by and I'm fuck work. Oh, look at this beautiful feather. Oh, I want to take beautiful photographs of it. And, oh, look at you. I tend to get that way in a very, it's just something, okay? It's just my spiritual, creative side, and I love it. And if I didn't have that, life would be so fucking boring. It'd be so robotic and boring, and I just don't think we're here for that. I think those moments of soul coming out, I think that's what it's all about, okay? I don't think we're here to be robots. I don't think we're here to be slaves to the grind and nothing more. I don't think, but I will say this. I get the whole starving artist thing, but I've never fancied that either. I personally think it's ridiculous. But I get it. I get trauma. I get shit happens to people, okay? If anybody's been through it, I have. But I've known a lot of people in my life, they just get lazy. They think they can go around and throw all their weight all over everybody else and they don't have to do shit, but yet they're carrying a guitar around. Or, I'm a performer. I'm this artist, but yet I'm not going to keep a roof over my head. I'm not going to be responsible. I'm not going to take care of my kids. I'm not going to get up and do what it takes and conform at least that much to take care of responsibility so that people don't have to suffer, or I don't have to struggle that hard or suffer. A lot of them just can't do it. And I know it comes with that artistic, creative personality. And a lot of times with that artistic, creative personality also comes very high spiritual side. And with all of that also can come mental illness, personality disorders. All of that stuff can run hand in hand. It really can. And, we're fortunate if we can channel a lot of that stuff and find our balance so that we don't have to go too far to one extreme side or the other. And that's what I'm trying to convey to you guys. That is what I am always working towards, is trying to keep that good balance. My channel used to be called Dysfunctionally Functional Life, just for that reason, because I've always tried to take the dysfunction, the abuse, all of the things that I was raised around, things I've attracted into my life because of my own patterns and healing that needed to be done, all the mistakes I've made, all those dysfunctional, toxic things, whatever, and I've always had to transmute those things into something more useful, more productive, of higher frequency and vibration, more positive, whatever the hell ever. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so dysfunctionally functional. I've had to find a way to function within that madness and function well. And I did it for a lot of years, okay? It's only been in the last few years that I started to have some troubles, okay? Because of circumstances in my life. So anyway, but yeah, that balance can be difficult to hit. I personally don't like extremes. Extremes piss me off, make me feel completely stressed out, off balance. I don't like extremes. And here's the deal. If you're one or the other, don't ever let a toxic person or a narcissist think that you're spiritual, okay? The minute that everything about you that they think they can use as a weakness, as something they see it as a way in. You dig what I'm saying here? Like the person I was involved with for 6 years. Here recently, we went our separate ways. And in order to manipulate me, the whole 6 years, this person, of course he knew me. He heard my spiritual theories and thoughts, and we discussed a lot of these things, and he knew the things that I felt and found interesting and believed in. But he also knew me to be a fucking realist too. I can break real just like that. That's me. I'm real and authentic. And don't worry, I'm not going to start floating away in a cloud or any fucking thing just because I'm spiritual. And I enjoy spirituality. I enjoy studying different types of religions, but I'm not necessarily religious. I enjoy learning and growing in my emotional intelligence, my self-awareness, my consciousness, and I enjoy discussing interesting theories, even though I might not believe in them 100%. I feel like they might be food for thought and interesting. So he knew all of these things, right? Especially things to do with the twin flame journey and love and spirituality, especially things along those lines, okay? And never once in our entire relationship did I hear him. And that's an odd thing because often he would copy people. He would start picking up their language, their actions, for all kinds of reasons. So that he could manipulate them, so that he could impress other people with their ideas and their energy. And because he was one of those people that had a lot of insecurities and really desperate to fit in and be approved of. And he didn't have a very strong sense of self as a covert, fragile narcissist who was also very, very codependent, and a severe alcoholic. So he didn't have a very strong identity in himself. So he would often just feel like he needed to lose himself into the group and be just like them. And that's a very sad thing to watch for a 40-something-year-old, to not have their own identity. I mean, it went really extreme. So anyway, before I lose my train of thought, usually he acted like that. But I was one of the only people that for some reason, other than taking some of my favorite things and using them behind my back to impress other people, girls on the internet, and I'd know damn well he's not into that. That's something he heard from me. He hasn't ever been passionate about that. What? Oh, the things I went through. But hardly ever in my face did I ever hear him use the same terms I would use. Like, for instance, often people will hear me say, the universe probably blah. The universe wants it that way. The universe, and I don't know what the hell to say. Okay? Sometimes I say God, sometimes I say the universe, sometimes I say the powers that be. George Carlin said the big or the big electron, So, but I do use that term a lot. Well, I guess the universe wants it that way, right? Maybe the universe wants us to. And so at the end of our relationship, this is how they are. Don't ever let a narcissistic person, but see, they hate it when you're right on top of that shit. This is how a narcissistic person is. It's so insulting to your fucking intelligence. It's like a joke. You just look at them like, Are you fucking kidding me, you kindergartner? Go get your fucking milk carton and get back on your knapsack when they try to pull that shit. Just because you let them get their way for a little while, okay, well, in my case, way too long, they think it's because they did it. They think it's because they fooled you with everything. They manipulated you. You're so dumb. You're under their control. Anyway, at the end of our relationship, I told him I was going to do something or the other that he didn't agree with or he didn't like. And he said to me, well, you know, the universe wouldn't like if you did that. Are you fucking kidding me right now? It was so out of character for him. Like 6 years. I had never, ever heard that phrase, that word come out of his mouth. Which, at this time when we were going our separate ways, he had been living somewhere else. And he had been doing full-time 24/7 alcoholic. Drinks vodka from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed at night. Half time he's falling down drunk. The whole 5 years, 6 years we were together, he was. But at this point he was doing a new substance that had him really whacked out. So I don't know if that, you know, what was going on with him, but it just flabbergasted me. I thought, really? Really? Who, after 6 years of knowing me and being around my ass all the time, this person still, and I often thought that, like, who is this person used to being around that's that ignorant? That's that aloof, that's that easy to manipulate, that we're fucking born yesterday or some shit? And how you gonna take my shit that you don't care anything about? Yeah, the whole time we were together, you humored me. As long as I was going along with your alcoholic agenda and kissing your ass and giving you your narcissistic supply, of course, you would sit there and have conversations with me about spiritual theories and twin flames. And he even read, you know, a few books that I was interested in. A book I didn't even get to read that I wish I had. He read the whole damn book. So, you know, sometimes things were real with us. Nobody can ever say, I don't care about people judging relationships. They can't do that. I don't care if it was a trauma bond, a narcissist. I don't care what it was. No two people are all the same. No two narcissists, narcissistic abusers, trauma bonds. There's a lot of different dynamics going on, okay? Sometimes things, that's what people don't understand and they're ignorant for it. I don't care if they're a psychologist. I don't care who they are. They don't understand that there's always good with the bad. Always. Duh. What do you think keeps people working in that trauma bond? It's because there is something good in their heart. And no, it's not that they're always in love with a fake character, a facade. Sometimes you do get glimpses of a highly narcissistic person's soul. Sometimes maybe you're just not intuitive enough. Maybe you're just kind of tuned out. I don't know. But sometimes if you're well trained enough, you know enough psychology, you've been around mental illness enough, you grew up with it in your family, you've had enough personal experience, hands-on experience dealing with different personalities, and you've done a lot of research, a lot of psychological training, years and years of therapy yourself, and you're highly spiritual, highly intuitive, highly empathic, best bet. You will pick up on glimpses of that person's soul. Genuine parts of that human being. Little fleeting moments where that little terrified ego comes out. The real them. And it's genuine. Why do you think they're a narcissist? Because they're terrified to let their real soul come out for any length of time. It comes out in bits and pieces, but it does come out. And I get sick of the ignorance, the lack of awareness, the lack of education on all this stuff going around the internet and social media. I think what they're doing is a good thing with the narcissistic abuse recovery groups and the coaches and all that shit. That's great. I think it's great. But, you know, and everybody's entitled to share their experience and whatever, what have you. But I think we really need to be careful if we don't know something all the way, we shouldn't sit out there and generalize everyone else's relationship and say, hey, we know what's up, you need to shut that down. I've seen people literally going off on each other in these narcissistic abuse recovery groups. You don't tell anyone else how to heal, okay? You don't tell another human being when it's time for them to wrap it up and heal and rush them along their healing process. And I saw somebody in the group talking about, well, I'm just going to leave this group because it seems like to me all of you people are trying to figure out how to keep the narcissist near instead of get them out of your life. I'm out of here. This group is bogus. You're all a bunch of losers, blah, 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 blah. You don't want to heal, blah. I thought that, I was like, a good riddance, fucking covert narcissist. Get them out of here. That is re-traumatizing to people who have already been traumatized by narcissists and toxic people, telling them that they have to feel on a schedule. They have to feel, they're not allowed to have their personal emotions in an accurate way, in a timely fashion to how they want to feel it, how they want to express it. They got to hurry up and feel a certain way for the narcissist and walk on eggshells. You see what I'm saying? So don't do that. People think they're doing some good, but see, here's what the deal is. It's because they are so traumatized and they can't stand to see other people. They want to try to control everybody else's healing too. It's because whatever they're choosing to do, they're still so hurt and unhealed and angry that they want to spread that shit all over everybody else, and they're not any better than the narcissistic abuser when they act like that. So just don't do that. Don't do that. It doesn't mean those people are any less than if they are not to where you are in your healing, okay? We're all on different levels of healing. And I don't see it that way. It's not that cut and dry. That's not even what the hell we're on this earth for now, which brings me to the point of this whole video. Let's get off into narcissism, the psychological and scientific side, and the spiritual aspect, because I always have both. I have two different explanations. It's almost like having to live in two different minds, and I kind of feel like my therapist at this point would be wanting to roll over on her couch, but that's okay. Because here's the thing. Let me go back to what my ex-partner tried to pull on me. I didn't tell you the end of it. When he pulled that shit on me about the universe, basically thinking I was stupid enough that I was just going to back down. Oh, okay. Well, since the universe said it, I better not then. Don't ever. But that's how narcissists are. To me, they're the stupid ones sometimes. They're the gullible ones. Because that doesn't mean fuck shit to me. You got me fucked up. I don't give a fuck what the universe says right now. Right now, I'm doing this shit, okay? See, that's just how I am, though. So, just when they think they're going to catch me up in a spiritual loop-de-loo, that I'm floating on some cloud out here, then I can bounce right back over to my critical thinking, my logic, my reason. Nah, don't even try to fuck with me like that. And they hate that. They really hate that because they want to find some weakness in you. They want to find anything meaningful to you. Anything that they've been pretending all these years that, oh yes, that's great. Oh yes, I agree. They don't give a fuck shit. But you know what I'm saying? They will turn that shit and try to manipulate you with your very own shit. And to me, I'm just kind of sitting there looking like, man, I got 2 sons in their 20s. I've been around, I've got 4 brothers. The experiences that I've had in my fucking life, and you're going to try to pull this bullshit on me. I was just sitting there thinking, really, it kind of made me sad. It made me sad that this 40-year-old man, there's something wrong with his brain. That he's got such an arrested development that part of his brain didn't get to develop all the way, and that he really is thinking on a very childlike level that something like that would work. you know, for a while, it insulted my intelligence all the time. I was so furious. Like, what? That he would, is he doing that on purpose? Or is something wrong with his brain? Does he really think that I'm, like, what the fuck? You know? But yeah, he pulled that on me and I shut the shit down is what the point is. So don't ever think just because someone's spiritual that they don't use their fucking critical thinking and that they're going to sit there and be taken by you. It doesn't mean that. It just means they use both. And that's why you have to be careful with narcissists when you're letting your guard down and you are, because they try to eat that shit up any way that they can find a softer spot in you. When you're around a narcissist, I mean, you literally have to be fucking on guard every second. You do. It's horrible. It's horrible. You have to duck and dodge their words. They're twisting. It's everything you say is gaslighted and twisted and taken out of context and flipped. And it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I wouldn't fucking deal with it. I would shut his shit down most of the time, and he didn't like that. But, you know, for a lot of years, in order to keep the peace, okay, then I had to walk on those eggshells and humor that shit. Which, you know, and he couldn't stand it. I'll get into that in another video, that he didn't have control of my brain. That even though I was shutting up and agreeing, okay, man, because I knew that he had mental illness. I knew that I wasn't ever going to get anywhere, that he was always going to gaslight and never be accountable and all that. It infuriated him. I mean, this is really how far out these narcissists can get. It infuriated him if he thought for 1 second, what? If it would come up that I actually don't believe you, man. I actually haven't believed you this whole time. I've just been going along with it because you're such a fucking narcissist. And it's so much trouble to actually communicate with you. And all you do is gaslight and deflect anyway. And word salad. So I just let you get your way. I just nod my head and go, okay, man, I believe you. Yeah, I feel that way. Okay. It's a horrible way to have to live, you know, and it would infuriate him to find out that I still had control of my mind. That the only reason he was getting by with things is because I was letting him. Because I was choosing to turn the other way, to turn the other cheek. I was letting him and giving him a chance to clean up his act. Giving him a chance to grow up a little bit. Because I really did care about this person and love him. Did not feel fucking superior to him. Didn't feel condescending towards him. None of that shit. Just salt of the earth loyalty to this person. And I was giving him a chance to grow through a lot of his trauma and tragedy and unhealed wounds. And thought he would grow in his emotional intelligence if I could be a better example of a friend, of true love, of loyalty, shit that he had not had in the past. Don't make that mistake. By the time a person's 40 years old, if they haven't learned it by then, they're not going to change it. If they are highly narcissistic at that point, they're not going to get any better most of the time. It's too late. It's just too deeply ingrained. But anyway, so that's what I'm saying. My spiritual side, I have to be very careful with that shit. Because people will try to prey on you.